I can see a nice day tomorrow, which I can call business and pleasure. What's the business? The morning. Business for us is to learn more and more and more and more. When we'll do Masada, when we'll do Qumrah, we're learning. What's pleasure? In the afternoon, when we'll go to the Dead Sea, I can see you guys here floating. Yes, I'll speak at the end of the day about what to bring, with us tomorrow. So, business and pleasure. Now, and in order to do all of this, I was generous today with the departure. Tomorrow, I will take it back. Yes. Qumran is located somewhere here. And Qumran is the place where a small sect, Jewish sect, known as the Essenes, yes, based themselves 2,200 years ago. Can you let the other group, walk through? Thank you. Thank you. It is the place where a small sect of Jewish people belonging to, that group called the Essenes brought themselves when they decided to leave Jerusalem. And there was a good reason for them why they decided to leave Jerusalem. They were very, very unhappy, and this is an understatement, yes, with what their eyes saw happening in Jerusalem 200 years before Jesus was born. As a time, context. Jerusalem became a city that fell in love with a new culture called Hellenism. And Hellenism brings, idols and worshiping statues. And one of the Greek kings put his statue in the temple in Jerusalem, the temple of God. And some of the Jews cooperated. I will even say collaborated. They fell in love with Hellenism. The Essenes didn't want to be part of this. They left. They chose the desert. Why the desert? It's not contaminated. It's clean. It's pure. And they built their community down there. Tomorrow we'll visit. And I'll show you the caves where the Dead Sea Scrolls were found. I believe that you know that when we are saying Dead Sea Scrolls, it's a modern name for ancient writings. When the Essenes left the scrolls in the caves, they never called them Dead Sea Scrolls. For them, they were writings, like biblical writings. Do you know that the Dead Sea Scrolls will be the most important discovery that was ever found? Wow. Wow. What makes them to be?
They had the history.
They what?
They had the history of it.
Much more than this. What made them to be?
They had the actual words of the
My friends, you're right, my friends, they are known as the most ancient, the oldest manuscript of the Bible. Written in Hebrew, in Aramaic and in Greek, but most of them Hebrew and Aramaic. What are we doing in our lifetime when we want to read the Old Testament books? We take our Bible and we read. How old is our Bible that we are using? When was it printed? 100? 50? 200 years ago? 300 years ago? Yes? The Dead Sea Scrolls are 2,200 years old. And when we took them in one hand and the current text that we are using today on the other hand, there was a match. And almost all the books of the Old Testament were found in those 12 caves. The only one not to be found is Esther. But all their, other texts, can you leave the walkway open? Thank you. All the other ones were found, yes? So I can take the Dead Sea Scrolls as a title and put under this title 3 different writings, like 3 different groups of writings. The biggest one will be called biblical writings. The name biblical writings is mainly related to Old Testament writings. And that's the biggest group. A. B. Sectarian writings. And those writings are talking about the life of the sect in the desert. C will be prophetical writings. So biblical writings, sectarian writings, and prophetical writings. Why are they called prophetical writings? Because they are prophesizing. They are, dealing with the future. Do you know what's the most important scroll that was found in the caves from Group C? The final war. They also believed in a final war to come. And they believe that they will then be able to return to Jerusalem, to make Jerusalem clean again, pure again. And they didn't call that war Armageddon. Not even Gog and Magog. They call it the war between the sons of light and the sons of darkness. They saw themselves as the sons of light. And all the others were their enemies that one day will be defeated. Few facts about the scrolls. Written on parchment, mainly, some papers, and 1 copper, known as the copper scroll. 3 languages, most of them Hebrew, some Aramaic, and few Greek. Most of them are 2,200 years old, between then and 2,000 years old. Like, that's the time frame of the Essenes at Qumran. And I told you, they confirmed that the Old Testament that we are reading, using in our lifetime, is exactly the same one that our ancestors. Yes?
So, can you tell us when the
Josephus Flavius?
Yeah, when did he live?
Josephus Flavius was born more or less when Jesus died on the cross, okay? And 30-something years later became like a general in the Jewish military leadership. And when the war against Rome broke in 67 AD, it will be 34 years after the crucifixion. Yes, he betrayed his friends and he crossed the line to the Roman side, adopted by Vespasian, who was the general. Vespasian is coming from the Flavian family in Rome. Josephus was not born with the name Flavius. He was born with the name Josephus, the son of Mattathias, a Hebrew name. Being adopted by Vespasian and getting his custody, he also adopted the name Flavius, because Vespasian came from the Flavian family. And he's known as Josephus Flavius, and he dedicated his life to, record the history. And he left several documents that he wrote. The most important one is called the Great Revolt, the Jewish War against Rome. I'm going to use this as a source of information tomorrow for the story of Masada. All right?
Thank you.
Question, the departure of the Essenes from this area to the desert, that was prior to Jesus'
Oh,
time.
it was 170 years before Jesus was born.
170 years.
170 years, 180 years before Jesus. When Hellenism is spread in Jerusalem, you know, the Greek culture. Yes. Let's
Thank you.
go inside the museum.